Welcome to the Global Boxing Network, the show where we bring you raw insight, legacy talk, and real conversation from behind the scenes in the fight game. I'm Mario. I'm here with my brother Brendan. And today's guest is someone who's been in deep waters with some of the best in the sport. And now he's entering a whole new chapter. He's being featured on the televised portion of the first ever Manny Pacquiao promotions card in the U.S. And he's got something to prove, not just inside the ring, but life beyond it. Before we jump in, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're watching, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, across all social media platforms. And if you want exclusive interviews, behind the scenes, full episodes, tap into Rady Plus across all streaming platforms. Let's get into it with Luis Cuba Arias.
Yeah, obviously, Luis, you're built different.
Yeah.
Coming from Milwaukee to Vegas, how's that transaction shaping you up, and how's that molded you?
I mean, it's been great. You know, Milwaukee's it's a much bigger city, but growing up in terms of boxing, it wasn't like the largest. You know, we had to always move around to get fights. I could only fight, you know, a couple times in Wisconsin. I had to like move around. So I knew when it was time to turn pro that I had to leave. You know, I had to like go to a bigger market. So originally, I rolled the dice and I came to Vegas. You know, so. Hasim Rockman, heavyweight Hasim Rockman, he helped me open the doors out here. He got me into the ring to spar Floyd Mayweather.
Really?
That's how I originally turned pro. Was Floyd was looking for sparring partners for Miguel Cotto. I was hungry, young kid trying to spar. I showed up, was like, yo, had my stuff on. I was trying to get in the ring, and he finally picked me. Me and Floyd threw down, and then I was part of Mayweather Promotions.
Nice. Sharing the ring with killers like Daniel Jacobs and Gabe Rosado, Jared Hurd, and those type of people, and Floyd. What does that do for you? What is that experience like?
I mean, it just always showed me that, you know, I got what it takes to compete at the highest level. You know, again, like I had to spar Floyd Mayweather to get signed, you know, so. And coming from like, you know, Wisconsin, you know, like when you're in the amateurs and you could tell what kind of fight you had just by the state the guy was in, what region they were in. So I've always been overlooked, you know, Wisconsin, Region 6, small region, not your biggest, you know, state. So being able to get to the highest level possible in boxing it's truly a blessing. You know, it's just, you know, hard work has got me there. I knew I always had the skill, but the fact that I was able to take myself to those top fights and fight nothing but the top guys throughout my entire career just proved that this was obviously a good decision in turning pro and trying to get to the top.
I have a question. How did the journey start? You know, everybody has a story when they were younger. How did your story start?
So originally, like I said, Wisconsin. So 4 seasons, nothing was really year-round. You know, I tried baseball growing up, but again, 3 months and it was over. I tried to play different sports, and my mom was so strict, you know. I couldn't get out the house unless I was playing sports. So one day we were at a community center trying to look for a sport. I was trying to play tackle football, but they said I was too young. And the boxing gym was upstairs, you know, at the community center. So I was like, Mom, didn't you say my dad used to box? And they're like, yeah, he used to box up there. And I was like, let's go see if they'll let me box. You know, I was like, I can't play football. I can't play nothing else. Let's just go see if they let me box. And sure enough, we went up there. Trainer was like, bring me on Monday. And the moment I stepped in the gym, I fell in love with it because as soon as I got in there, they were sparring. There was 2 guys that were sparring, and I loved it, you know, and then I stuck with it. And like I said, in Wisconsin, it was the only one of the few sports that was year-round. So no matter what other sport I could play, I always knew I could just go back to the boxing gym. As I got older, I started winning a bunch of fights. I started going to these national tournaments and not just getting kicked out the first day. I started being one of those guys that was for sure in the finals or in the semis. And then I was about 16, 17. I got approached to turn pro at then. So I knew then I was like, I could go somewhere with this. You know, I was a top-ranked amateur. I was ranked #1 for a while. I was on the men's team, the junior team, the JOs, everything. So this was obviously my calling, was to fight.
Wow, I didn't know that about you, and I don't know if others do, but being a highly ranked amateur is very, very an accomplished thing for some of these fighters. Not many are. And for you to be at that level, you know, it shows a lot about your talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, you're going to be featured on the first ever Manny Pacquiao promotions card here in the United States. Of course, it's going to be at the Pachanga. That's November 29th. First ever Manny Pacquiao promotions card. You're going to be fighting a guy undefeated, Lazaro Lorenzana. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I know him personally.
Yeah.
He's an undefeated, strong kid. He's going to be fighting in his hometown. You know, let's just dive into this fight. You know, you being a veteran of so many fights. Talk a little bit about this matchup.
Like I said, I always prided myself on fighting the best possible out there. I mean, obviously, I know I haven't had the best career, but one thing about me is just I come to fight, you know, and I see a young kid, a young undefeated kid, but I don't see any tough fights on his record. You know what I mean? Like, you got to realize I've been 10 rounds multiple times. You know, I've been 10 rounds more than he's had 10 rounds scheduled. And that can make a difference in the fight, and I feel like it will make a difference in the fight. But I know he's hungry. I know he's going to be in front of his crowd. But at the end of the day, you know, they can't fight for him. You know, I fought Danny Jacobs in New York. I fought the Irish guy who was number 3 in the world at the time. I fought him in Ireland. Wow. You know, so I've never been, you know, afraid to go fight people where their hometown is, because at the end of the day, you know, I've learned that throughout my entire career. It's just us two at the end of the day. So they could cheer for him as much as they want. But I'm coming to fight, man. I'm coming to have a good fight. And if he's not in good shape, you know, the crowd's going to switch. The crowd wants to see a fight. They don't care who's from where. I mean, obviously they want to see their hometown guy. But if you see two guys throwing down, the guy who's not going to stop throwing down, they'll eventually just start rooting for them. You know, and that's the type of fighter I am, man. I come to throw down, so.
Now, I really respect that as a fighter. I've been around a lot of fighters and their managers and their people around them. You know, they don't take risks. They look at it, oh, you're fighting in his backyard, or oh, this and that, and they make some excuse. But like you said, at the end of the day, it's just you two in the ring. I wish more fighters had that attitude, because we would get, you know, better fights, right?
Yeah, agreed.
You know, a lot of times these fights ain't happening is because of those factors. Oh, he's at home. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. You know what? Just fight. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
The thing about it is, too, it's right. It's his backyard, so to say. He's from San Diego, but there's no A side or B side. It's a fight. So it's something that you've been looking for in your career, where it's a fight. You know, it's not like there's a promoter that's a favorite of you or him. It's a fight at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that being just a fight, it just makes it more fun, because he's coming in like he has everything to lose, you have everything to gain, and you can also define your career with a win like this. You can revamp yourself to fight, you know, another 5 years if you want to, if everything goes well. So
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the pressure's on him.
Yeah.
I already lost.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, you know, when a guy's 16, 17-0 and he hasn't been signed by a big promoter, that's a question mark. You know, like, that's something that he got to prove. Like, man, what am I doing wrong? My record is good. It goes to show you, it's not just about record. It's something that these promoters are seeing in this kid that are like, I don't know if I want to put my money up yet. I mean, like I said, I was signed to Floyd Mayweather immediately, and he was at the top of the game. After that, once we had our little business falling out, I was at the Top Rank office. I was at the Golden Boy office. I was with Rock Nation, sitting up there with Jay-Z and those guys. So, like, the skill level for me has always been there. Has my career been managed correctly? Probably not. Have I took those tough fights when I probably shouldn't have? I did, but I just wanted to prove myself that I could get to the top level. You know what I mean? So I proved a lot of my career. You know what I mean? It's time for him to prove it.
I mean, taking those risky fights, you did the right thing. You're still here now. You're going to be fighting on a nationally televised event, and you never look back. You know what I mean? I always just say, these young fighters, if you're listening, you're watching, there's a business side to this, but at the end of the day, you got to fight. And it's crazy sometimes, because a loss might make you look vulnerable to some of these big fights. They'll say, oh man, he lost to that guy. Now I want to put him in with my guy. And then you somehow, some way, you get this crazy opportunity to go fight somebody else. So the bottom line is just fight. let the chips fall where they may. You know what I mean? Go out there, give it your all, and let the chips fall where they may. That's what I always try to tell these guys. Just fight, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You know.
Believe in yourself and go do your thing.
You know, I mean, that undefeated, you know, you got to be undefeated. There's only a handful of people. You can go through the history of boxing from forever. Like, there's a very, very small amount of people that have been able to say, I'm undefeated, you know, but those are just, you know, God-gifted guys, you know, but a lot of your Hall of Famers have all been beat, you know what I mean? Like, challenge yourself. An undefeated record only can help you so much. You know what I mean? It's good to be undefeated in the beginning, but after a while, it's like, well, you're undefeated, but who you beat, who you fought, you know?
What fight taught you the most out of your whole career to date?
Honestly, I learned a lot more out of just all my losses. I mean, everyone taught me a little different. The Danny Jacobs fight, you know, I made a mistake.
Taught you to get shoes, right?
Taught me to get my right shoes, man. A rookie mistake, you know.
Tell them about the story about your shoes with Danny Jacobs fight.
Granted, he beat me. He won fair and square, but rookie mistake. So, leading up, I used to always get my shoes, you know, and then I'd get them like the week of the fight, and then I'd put them on, and then I'd go fight with brand new shoes. That's always been my thing. Never broken in. So the day for the Jacobs fight, when they sent me my shoes, they were half a size too big. But like I said, I made the rookie mistake that I only tried them on in the locker room. Yeah. So by then, I tried them on, I looked on, I was like, damn, they are a little too big, but shit, my hands were getting wrapped. Like, the fight was on. I was like, man, well, whatever. So I ended up catching a blister, like, dude, a huge one on the side of my foot. I couldn't stand on my foot. So
middle of the fight?
Throughout the whole fight. After the second round, my foot was just sliding, and then boom. So that taught me that. When I went to Ireland, you know, I was like, man, this kid's not that good. I was in Japan training. I was like, I don't need a full camp, man. He's not that good. Man, I went over there and I fought the toughest guy possible, you know, so he was in dog shape. Yeah. I was like, damn, man, like, another thing is like, dude, you can't go what this guy look like, how he looks in this fight. Like, at the end of the day, it's a physical fight. So if you're not in physical shape, you know, you can't be beat, you know. And then, boom, I beat Hurd. I took a dumb fight with a big guy, with a veteran guy. I ended up losing my spot because I lost to Von Alexander, you know, in a fight that I thought I won, but it was like, dude, I had just beat Hurd. Yeah, I was already in the big money fight. Yeah. But I was like, oh, let's just stay busy. I was like, this guy's been beat a bunch. Again, you can't overlook guys.
Right, so you're saying that was maybe a business mistake?
That was a business mistake. Bad management.
Yeah,
I was already in the big fight. Me and Lubin were already in talks to be a main event on Showtime.
Gotcha, yeah. There is a business to the sport, and you got to really have experienced people around you to guide you the right way.
Save yourself, too, because sometimes the fighter in himself wants to fight.
Yeah, because I was like, man, who y'all want me to fight? I didn't even care, you know what I mean? I was like, whatever, but I didn't really think.
Fight anyone.
Yeah, I just beat Hurd. I was like, but I didn't really think like.
Vaughn was coming out of prison, too, and he was like...
He was a big... Dude, he was like... He wasn't getting knocked out, you know, and I was trying to move down, but he was a big dude. Yeah. So anything I hit him with didn't faze him. So I was like, dude, I lost the big fish going after the little fish. Yep. You know?
Now, you had a pretty extensive career.
Yeah.
Over 10 years in this game. Looking back, is there anything that you would change or kind of adjust?
Nah, I mean, I feel like you could go back in life and be like, if I would have did this, I would have did that. But, you know, God put me in this position and made me learn these lessons for a reason. Yeah. But you know what? He takes a little bit, but he gives you more. You know, like I said, I did take some tough fights that I probably that I shouldn't have took. But I went out there on my shield. And because I have gone out there on my shield, I've had countless promoters still reach out because, like I said, people want to see a good fight. Yeah. You know, when you put Luis Arias versus anybody, me and you could fight. Yeah, it's going to be a good fight because I'm going to come to fight. You know what I mean? So that's something that I'm able to be like, I'm respected in the boxing community because they know, like, he may be in a great shape, he might not be in the best shape, but guess what? He's gonna go down on the shield to the very end.
People want to see people throw blows.
Yeah, so that's why my phone is always gonna be ringing no matter what. You know, so shout out to Gibbons. You know, they know it, they seen it, and they wanted a good fight.
Yeah, you gotta respect the grind, right? Because especially when you have your own track record and everything, you have everything behind you. It's not like you're calling up some dude that maybe not show up. You know you're coming to fight.
Yeah, every time.
It's awesome to see.
Now you're training in the Mecca. Las Vegas, Nevada. compare that to some of the other spots you've trained. You've had camps in Florida, other places, Milwaukee, like you said, but you're in Vegas right now. Talk a little bit about that vibe, the sparring in Vegas, just being in Vegas, you're in high elevation, just talk a little bit about that.
I mean, there's a reason why Vegas is the fight capital of the world, you know, and the main thing, honestly, out of all the different places, like I said, I train in Florida, I train in Cali, Colorado, all of that, is really the sparring. You know what I mean? Like so when you, like in Florida, I was living in Boca Raton, I was about an hour north of Miami. Getting tough sparring, good sparring was a hassle, you know what I mean? Because like you'd have to drive down to Miami, which would take all day. You know what I mean? Like, so you'd leave your house at like 9, 10 in the morning. You're not back at home till 6, 7 at night because traffic and all of that. So the biggest hassle in Florida was the great weather, you know, great gyms, but everything's out. They're so spread out. Here in Vegas, man, you got gyms across the street from each other. You got gyms. You got a house. You have no idea. There's a gym in the back with a bunch of pros, you know. So there's a handful of gyms. There's a handful of sparring. And it'll only take you a 15, 20-minute drive to go get some top-notch, solid sparring. And I felt like that's always been the best part about Vegas is the sparring. And not only that, UFC's getting huge. And there's a lot of MMA and UFC guys that are here. And even though it's a different sport, a lot of those guys got some good hands, and they got great conditioning. So sparring those guys, mixing it in with some boxing, you can get 12+ rounds easy, 3, 4 different guys who are down to do it. You know, you don't got to find it. You got a couple guys, you know, you don't got to be like, I got to pay you, pay gas. Like, people are down to, you know, this is a city where people got to throw down. You don't never know who's watching.
I mean, I'm at a lot of the gyms. I used to go a lot more. I mean, I'd be going to all of the gyms. Just, you know, I had fighters there that I had to work with. But like right now, where we're sitting right now, I could think of 10 gyms within a 5-mile radius, right here from where we're sitting.
There's a ring right there.
So I always tell young fighters, if you really want to make it, you got to come to Vegas. And if you can't live out here, come out here for camp.
Yeah,
you know
just
what I mean?
train
Suck
out
it
here,
up because
you know?
the sparring out here is second to none. Yeah, they got good sparring other places, but if you really, really want to make it, you got to make that sacrifice and come to Vegas and get that work.
Agreed.
Okay, now let's talk about the real estate world. Now, I know you, I just got a loan through the company that you work for. Talk a little bit about these young fighters and what is it that they should be doing early in the career. I always tell my guys, go buy your house. Like, save your money and go buy your pad first. Have somewhere to rest your head. That's the most important thing. Don't go be buying no car, no jewelry, all that stuff. So as a guy that's kind of in that world, enlighten some of these young fighters that are watching right now. What would you tell these guys?
Yeah, I mean, like they always tell us, you know, go buy real estate. Like, you can go through every athlete, anything. They always tell people, like, invest in real estate, but they don't really tell you what to do. They just tell you go invest in real estate. But there's just so many ways how you can invest. So I just recently in June, I went and got my my loan originator license. So it's a mortgage lender. So basically, yeah, you go find your you know, your place to live. You know, like, if this money goes like this, as quickly as you get it, as quickly as it'll be gone. You know, taxes, and you're on the spotlight one day, you're making 6 figures, you get a bad performance, and guess what? You back down to the smaller checks. So you need some type of investment that you could fall back on, and real estate's always been one. You know, and I felt like if I wish I would have knew a little bit better and more about it, you know, I'll be able to do. But yeah, man, 100% is to get involved in real estate. There's different ways of getting involved in real estate, which is why I went and got my mortgage license. So I can go tell a fighter, like, okay, look, this is the type of loan you need. This is the type of loan you can get. There's several types of loans. Like, there's loans.
There's things you got to think about. The interest rate.
There's interest rates,
the property taxes. I mean, there's so many things that go into buying a property. You got to have knowledge about it, and I think that's one thing these young fighters should be studying, and I wish there was some type of a program for these guys to learn that stuff, because really, you know, when you get these paychecks, they're far and few between sometimes, especially when you're coming up. They're not that big of paydays, and when you get that big payday, you definitely should go put it down on a property.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah, and there's, like I said, there's different type of loans, and that's why I got in it, so I can help others, you know, to know, like, yo, if you're gonna get this type of property, this is the type of loan you need to get. You know, this is what the interest rate is. And like I said, there's so many loans out there. Like, we have a specific loan that's helping people pay their houses off a lot faster, you know, and then teaching people about equity and how to tap into the equity. And real estate's a whole different game, and it just, you gotta really do your homework, you know what I mean? And if you don't, you can, but you can just lose it all. You
Well,
know?
there it is right there. If anybody needs any financial help with loans, you got my boy right here, Luis
100%.
Arias. He's ready to go. He's ready to rock. He'll
ready to help.
He'll help you
Ready to
make
help.
your rise investments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Amen to that.
Okay, let's get into what a win means.
What does a win mean to you? For this
I'm
fight?
back in it, you know, I'm back in it. You know, I mean, I've one win in boxing, that's the thing, is one good performance can flip the script, you know, and I still haven't fought for that world title. I mean, I fought champions, I fought contenders. You know, I feel like I beat this guy in convention fashion. I can get a shot.
I believe so.
I can definitely get a shot, you know, so that's why I put my all into it. You know, like I said, shout out to Gibbons. They didn't catch me like, yo, you trying to fight in 2 weeks kind of a thing. They gave me enough time. Shout out to Lorenzana and his team. They took the fight with a good amount of time, so we're in this 100%. So I know a victory right here can flip the script, you know, and there's a big card in the works, allegedly, of Pacquiao and Floyd, you know, so, you know, I get this big W, you know, I just need to go get on a big card and get a shot, you know, but I know if I put on a good fight period, I can get another shot, but I know a win can give me the shot that I need. So.
Yeah, a nice win can parlay you into a $200,000 fight. You win that fight, you jump into a $5 fight. It just kind of rolls and rolls and rolls. Now you got some capital to go make some investments.
Go get some properties. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
What in
sir.
boxing that still drives you and gives you that fire? I know you fought 30, 40 fights.
Yeah.
What still wakes you up every day and you just feel like you want to fight?
Just, you know, like I originally, I mean, I didn't say I was completely dumb, but I felt like I was, which is why I went and got my mortgage license. But then there's something about the itch, you know, like I'm older. I'm not old yet because there's a lot of guys that are 35 right now who are undisputed champions.
Yep.
So I'm not that, you know, old where I'm a grandpa.
Yeah.
You know, but I just, man, it's something about fighting, dude. I just love it. It's something that I've done my whole life. You know, I had my first fight when I was 8 years old, you know, and that's one thing that happens with boxers when they're done with boxing. It's like, what's next? You know, that itch to fight, you know, and then I'll go to the gym, I'll go sparring, I'll be having some great sparring sessions. I'm like, I still got it. You know, I can still get fights. They're still calling, so there's no reason why I shouldn't go keep fighting, you know?
You still have the fire to want to be a world champion?
100%, 100%. You know, I mean, obviously, you know, boxing's about, you know, it's a business at the end of the day, so you always want to make as much money possible, but, you know, I still haven't got the opportunity to fight for a world title.
For it, yeah.
You know, like that's always been on my to-do list. I've had fights offered, it didn't go through, you know, which is like, dang, you know, making the right business, you know, like me and Charlo could have fought. After I beat Heard, one of the fights was either Lubin for the title or Charlo, Big Charlo for the title. And then, you know, it ended up not going through, but that was my shot to fight for the title. And I'm like, damn, but I can get myself back in that position. Like I said, I put on a great fight right now. I beat this guy, you know, in a very good fight. They gonna call me and I'm gonna get a shot. I'm gonna get a shot.
It's always about your last win in boxing.
Yeah.
I consider you highly intelligent, right, as a fighter. Can't say that, you know, with everybody, but everybody's got their talents in some ways. Now, when you're like at the press conference or, you know, face to face, I've seen you get a little hot at times, but like, I don't know if it's the show. Do you think, you know, it's
Definitely
part of
so.
it?
It's part of it, man.
Yeah, you got to talk shit, right?
I was with Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
That says it all.
That says it all, you know, and that's one thing that I did learn. Like, that's why I'm blessed to have been through it with a lot of different champions, a lot of different guys, how they maneuvered. But Floyd was able to capitalize the most. And one thing about Floyd is if he's sitting over there, he going to be one person. But once those lights turn on, that camera turn on, he has to be a certain different. You know, you got to be a different type of person because you got to be. People want to be able to see you. If they don't like you, if all they like about you is the way you fight, you know, that makes it tougher. But if you love the way I fight and then you like me as a person, you know, just in general, like, it's more people gonna want to tune in. You know, like I said. So I've always wanted to just show my personality. I was never scared of the cameras, and I knew how to flip the switch. The switch. And like I said, when I seen Floyd do it, I'm talking about Floyd. The moment those cameras was on, he was Floyd Money Mayweather. And guess what? Because of that, he's a multi. He hit $1 billion.
He definitely manifested his money.
You gotta know how to flip the switch, you know?
Yeah, we are in the entertainment world, and I try to tell people this is entertainment.
Yeah.
You gotta do something to spice it up. Even if you don't talk shit, talk with confidence, right? You could talk to your opponent and talk about yourself without really being disrespectful to them. You know what I mean? So I always try to tell fighters, you know, you gotta turn on that switch.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I would rather see two people fight that it look like they don't like each other.
Yeah.
Like as long as it looks like they don't like each other, like, oh yeah, let's see those guys fight. But if they all huggy-dubby and then it's like, okay, it might be a good fight, it might not. But when you see two guys like, oh yeah, they going at it, you know? It's part of the game. It's part of the game.
That's the beautiful thing about boxing, because you can have all that, and then after the fight, you shake the man's hand, you hug up.
Your check gonna clear, my check gonna clear. We good, bro. We good.
I mean, I've always said, man, if you're in the ring with somebody, you got your souls are coming together, man. Once you after that fight, you have a special bond.
That type of respect is different when you're trying to beat each other up.
Right. Right.
It's like a gentleman's code almost.
It is.
It's like, you know, you're taking my head off, I'm taking my head off, but then it's over and you're like, all right.
Any person that I've been in that ring with, that relationship different.
It is,
from
right?
There.
Like
I mean, that's what Floyd. Like I said, me and Floyd, like I won't talk to Floyd for months. But when we see each other, we shared that ring together. Was it a fight? No, but we threw down. So it's like, it's different.
It is
different.
It's
different.
Respect,
I love that, man. I love about this sport. You know, you guys got two guys in there going at it, you know, and it's a dangerous sport. You know what I'm saying? People die in sparring. People die in the ring. It's just a very dangerous sport. So yes, when two guys are up in there, letting it all hang out, definitely that relationship is a different bond after that, forever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's get into the bonus segment.
Yeah, bonus segment. The fighter or founder. So we're going to show you some clips. It's going to be either fighter or founder. If it's a fighter move, it's an instinct move and kind of impulsive move. And if it's a founder move, it's a long game, it's a strategic move, it's a boss energy type of move. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and it's either a fighter or a founder.
Okay.
The first one we'll do buying your first duplex at 25.
Founder.
Founder, okay.
That was quick.
That was a quick one, okay. We have founder on here? All right, next one. Taking a short notice fight across the country to prove a point. Is that a fighter? Okay, what about sitting on a real estate deal for 6 months just to get the right price?
Founder.
Founder, okay. Getting into it with your opponent at the weigh-in?
That could be a founder.
That's a tough one. It's a trick one.
Because it's a mental game as well, you know?
Absolutely.
It's a mental game.
And why is that? What at the weigh-in can win you the fight or lose you the fight? Why is it that?
Because you can get someone out of their element. You know, it could be a good thing and a bad thing, though, because the last thing you want to do is you want to fight off emotion. So at the weigh-ins, as you could tell, if someone's going to fight off emotions because of what you say. All you got to say is a couple trigger words. And if they trigger, then you be like, okay, all I got to do is get him out of his way to get him to start fighting emotionally, which is when they make mistakes.
Now, if I may tell a story about a weigh-in situation, right? Maybe the opposite of what you did. One of my fighters, world champion, multiple world champion, he was undefeated at the time, and I think he was looking past this guy. And when they went to the weigh-in, the other opponent, really looked really scared. He was walking up to the weigh-in, and he just, scared, right? So my guy looked at him and was like, this guy scared me, man, you know what I mean? I'm gonna whoop him. Dude, when fight night came around, this guy was like
Solid.
He was ready to go.
Yeah.
So this guy took it hook, line, and sinker, and it worked for that guy. He took him lightly, and he got his first loss.
Yeah.
He ended up knocking that dude out in the second one. But it just goes to show you, the weigh-in, they're psychological games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can go in there and pretend like you're scared, get this guy softened up, right? Because a lot of times when you're talking, you're waking up a sleeping giant, right? Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you want to walk up there all scared, and looking all timid.
It's all mind games.
It's all
man.
mind games, depending on your opponent, right?
The moment that fight is signed is when the fight's on. The fight is the fight, but the fight can start immediately. You could tell the way they're training, the way they look. When you see, because when you can tell what kind of fight it's gonna be when y'all like this. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't fought, but when you with a fighter and y'all done and you looking at each other eye to eye, that's when you tell everything. Like a real fighter can tell when you're sitting right here in front of you, like, yeah, it's go time now. You could kind of tell what kind of fight you're gonna be in. Just off the jump.
Yes.
You know, so I believe it. I believe it.
They always say the eyes don't lie.
The eyes don't lie.
The good old saying.
As soon as that contract's signed, that's when the fight starts.
That's when
Because
the
if you look
fight's
at Caleb Plant, buy your domain, luisarias.com, start making fun of you, start just like bashing it. Shout out to Caleb when he's done, David, all that stuff. But even him, he's a prime example. He got the domains, he got social shirts and everything, and you're just looking like the whole time like, fuck, I'm getting like played with. They're like, you're just like, I don't like this, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely. Next question, mentoring a young fighter about credit before combos.
Founder,
okay. Turning down a fight that doesn't move your career forward.
founder.
Yeah, well, we got most of them right. I agree with the majority of those. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Well, there you have it, folks. That was real conversation with the real fighter, a dog mentality type of guy, a guy that's been through the highs, through the lows, but still trucking forward. Lastly, what advice would you give to just any young fighter coming up? Whether it be in the ring, let's start with first in the ring, and then maybe outside the ring.
In the ring, for one, man, is you never want to overlook an opponent. You always want to make sure you turned every block, you did everything you could, because at the end of the day, no matter what a person's record is, it's a fight. And you know what, when you're coming up, because there's a lot of guys coming up, like, your first couple of fights, your first like 10 fights are supposed to be breezed through, but you got to realize a lot of those guys on the other side, they make money off of losing to you. But if they get knocked out, they don't get no check in a couple weeks. So you can't take them lightly, and they're not about to take you lightly. So just because you're fighting a scrub, or just because you're fighting a guy with a couple losses, do not think it's gonna be an easy fight. Because, like I said, a lot of those guys have to fight you. They have to. And if you're not in shape and you think just because he's a scrub, you're gonna lose or you're gonna beat him, you could catch a bad draw or you could catch an L.
You just never know how hard that guy was training.
Yeah, you just don't know. And a lot of opponents make money off of being opponents. So you got to realize that with any commission, you get knocked out, you on a 60, 90 day. That could be 2-3 checks. All because they got knocked out. So what makes you think they're gonna go in there and get knocked out? Like, these are fights, man, and that's another reason why get as many amateur fights as you can. If you can't dominate a certain amount of amateur fights, what makes you think you're gonna turn pro and dominate 20 straight?
Real talk.
That's why you gotta fight, man. Fight. Get as many fights as you can, because the amateurs don't matter, but it'll show you a lot about yourself. Can you figure guys out? Can you dominate 5 fights for me?
Yeah.
Just win 5 fights straight for me. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't do that, you got to realize, if you can't do that, what makes you think you're going to turn to the pros and dominate these guys just because they're so scrubs?
Real talk. No, I agree.
That's a fact, man. I'm telling you.
No, you don't play boxing.
I don't. That's why, shout out to Gibbons. He putting on these amateur fights, and I've been telling kids at the gym, like, yo, go fight. Oh, man, we're trying to turn pro. I'm like, bro, again,
this is a fight. You can fight right now. You could
fight right now, or you could just wait and turn pro and then fight guys that you're supposed to beat. Or you could realize where you at. That's how I found out where I was at, man. I put up over 100 amateur fights, close to 150.
Wow.
Good name.
I got to see every style, European, regular. I got to fight scared, fight not scared, fight hungry, fight everything, you know, but you learn about yourself, and then next time you go in there in the brightest of the lights, you know what it is.
Right.
You know,
right,
so
right.
get as many fights as possible and make sure you train, because that guy over there does not want to get knocked out.
Well,
Now,
we're
what-
say outside the ring, yeah.
Yeah, outside the ring.
Outside the green, and it's just always, man, remember that it's a business at the end of the day. So you want to just make sure you take care of yourself. You know, you make the right investments when you do get the money. You got to live in terms of your norms. If you making X amount of dollars, spend less than that. You know what I mean? Like, don't live above your norms. Just because you're 10, 15 and 0, and just because these top guys are retweeting you or it doesn't mean you're gonna get to their level. You know what I mean? So just stay humble. Live within your means, because that check comes quick, but the moment you don't look good, guess what? There's another guy that's gonna look good, so your money going to them.
Also, rest and taking care of your body, eating right. You know?
All that, everything.
It's a job. That's what you mean by business. It's a job. Business and job is the same thing.
It's a job. You know,
As
you
a
got to
fighter,
take care of your body.
Yep.
You got to eat right.
Yep.
The way you're making the weight can determine whether you get tired in 4 rounds or if you get tired in 9 rounds. Like, all of that plays a factor.
Yeah, and I've always said the elite level guys, and I've been around many of them, their 24-hour clock is a lot different than guys that are not at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, they're eat, sleep, breathe, boxing.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is getting good rest as well.
Yeah, agreed,
You know what I mean?
agreed, yeah.
Their 24-hour clock is just insane, because they get up, it's training, then they gotta rest, and then they gotta train again. You know, it's just a crazy
They got their
cycle.
whole 7 days planned out. They know what they're doing at what time every day of the week.
That's a job. You're a fighter. You're not a
job. It's
lawyer.
a
You're not a
job.
teacher. You're not a trash man. You're
You're a fighter.
So what do you have to do? Show up 9 to 5 every day to be a
Yeah.
fighter and train and all that.
Well, Luis,
Appreciate
thank
you.
you for showing up, showing us the blueprint both inside and outside of the ring. We really appreciate you, and all you young guys watching. Listen up, take some words, wise words from a wise man, right?
Tune into his fight November 29th.
November 29th, we
Yeah.
throwing down. Like I said,
Yes, sir.
you better be in shape. I'm in shape. I got a good enough time. I feel good, and let's see what you got. Your people are there. You gotta
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Look good.
The world will be watching.
The
Yes,
world will be
sir.
watching.
And there you have it, folks. For everybody watching, remember to follow us on social media, watch all the behind the scenes, head over to Rady Plus, and get all the behind the scenes information on the Global Boxing Network. There you have it. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
100%.